Hi everyone, my name is John and I'm really excited to bring this course to you. This is a course covered in personal finance management and is a course called Understanding Your Net Worth. What is your net worth? Have you ever asked yourself, how much are you worth? Take some time and ask yourself, how much am I worth? Maybe you've been working, or you've been self-employed, or you're a business owner, or you're an investor. Have you ever taken time to look at what you own and came up with an exact financial position? Or have you ever tried to establish the exact financial position? Because remember, we analyze where we are and where we want to be. But for every long journey, for any journey to begin, you must understand where you are currently. A long journey starts with the first step. Where are you standing? So we help you understand your net worth so that you can know the exact financial position. Where you're beginning, where is your stand right now, and where do you want to be? So where are you right now with regards to how much are you worth? Your net worth is the difference between what you own and what you owe. Simply put, this is the difference between your assets and liabilities. So you need to know what you own. You need to be very clear, very exact, and take a pen and a paper and list down what you own and what you owe, or the difference between the assets and liabilities. That gives you your current financial status or your current net worth. For any journey to begin, you have to know where you are. So if you want to achieve your net worth, or the target or the goal that you have, or what you want to achieve, then you have to know your starting point. Even in races, we see there's the starting point and the finish line. So financially stable, if you want to know whether you're in debt, if you want to know whether you have a positive or negative net worth, then you have to understand your current financial position. And this one should be an ongoing process. Remember, we say for any goal to be achieved, it has to be measurable. At any one point, you should be able to revise or review the progress of your achievement or accomplishment. Now, I have a story because I like working these things because they worked for me. After I got my first job, that is after I graduated and got my first job, I didn't know. I thought I was doing so well because I had a job. I was living in a nice house, and again I got a car loan, so I was driving and everything seemed so cool. And I saw the privilege of using credit card like it's the best thing. And anytime I didn't have like fuel for the car, I could just use my credit card to fuel the car and run around with the car and have fun. But it only came to my realization when the company I was working for went under, and I realized that I had a loan, an outstanding loan at the bank. I had a credit card to pay. I had a personal car that was on loan. And what did I have in terms of assets? This is very amazing because my first loan, and I mentioned this, my first loan, I took 100,000 shillings and bought household. I had my TV, my home theaters, I had furniture in my house. So I thought I was doing well. That was good because I had cleared the first loan, but I had another one still running and concurrently with the car loan and also the credit cards. So when I came to when I was terminated is when I realized that I didn't have any savings. I didn't have my liabilities, or what I owed was more than what I owned. So, but over the years, I've worked and reversed the whole arithmetic, and I said to myself, it's very important that I give this information to someone out there who could be also assuming that they're having a very good lifestyle. But if they take the exact financial position, look at your total asset, and take a look at your total liabilities. And then if you work that out, you might be amazed to find out that you're in debt or you have a negative cash flow. As in, if you were to offset all your debts with the current assets, you might find that you are in a badly position. That's not the end of the road though. This is the starting point, that if you know you're in debt, how do you get out of debt? Okay, that's another course that is covered in personal finance management, and is also out there in DVDs. So you can grab one if you find that you are in debt. And if you want to also boost your asset base, then there are other courses on investing in shares, treasury bills, and many other investment options. We still also offer those courses in different programs. Now, this course, that was my opener. I didn't know that was like a lesson that I learned through the hard way, but I don't want you to learn through the hard way. And if you find you are in debt, then it's high time that you try and change the arithmetic and say, I'm wealthy. Okay. You will need to have more assets than liabilities. And an asset, remember I said, an asset is anything of value that you own, and an asset puts money back to your pocket. A liability removes money from your pocket. What is an asset? We have an example. We have a car there, we have a motorbike there, we have airplanes, we have machinery, we have a house. So these are examples of assets, or something of value that you can own. But these assets, in terms of net worth, an asset is anything of value that you own. So refers to anything of value that you own, but an asset is something that puts money back to your pocket. So if you own anything that does not put money back to your pocket, then that is a liability. There are several types or classes of assets. We have movable and immovable asset. A movable asset is like a truck, a motor vehicle, an automobile, or a motorcycle, anything that can move from one position to the other. That's a movable asset. An immovable asset is like a house. It is somewhere, it cannot be moved. It's something of value that you own and could still be giving you more income. So to qualify that as an asset. And these assets, if they put money back to your pocket, then this is what is called an asset. Many people have things they call asset, whereas they remove money from their pockets. That's a common mistake. So an asset can be movable or immovable, but the bottom line, if it puts money back to your pocket, then that's the asset. An asset also can either be liquid or illiquid. What that means, a liquid asset is an asset that can be easily converted into cash. Okay, it's easy to convert shares into cash. It's easy to convert stock into cash. That can be a liquid asset. But an illiquid asset is something like land. Yes, it's fixed, but also it's a process to have it converted into cash. Okay, it might take like 1 month, 2 months, or 3 months to convert this asset into cash. Whereas if you're to sell shares or convert shares into money, that will take like a day to have it converted into cash. So there could be something of value that you own that puts money back to your pocket, which can either be liquid or illiquid. But if the bottom line, if it puts money back to your pocket, then that qualifies to be an asset. Remember, we're talking about having asset columns. Why? Because when you have asset columns, even when you stop working, it means you still have an income generated by those assets. We can also have fixed and variable expenses. Fixed assets, also like the buildings, these are fixed assets. And variable changes with the level of output, like stock. Okay, so if you have a fixed asset like a building, okay, office equipment, these are fixed. Plant and machinery, these are fixed assets. But variable assets, these are vary with the level of output. Okay, like the stock you have in the shop, that's a variable asset. Tangible versus intangible asset. They are assets that can be touched and felt with your hands. So that's a tangible asset. So what you can feel with your sense of touch, that's an asset. And an intangible asset in this case can be like softwares, like the Microsoft Windows or music. This is an asset. Those who do music and have copyright, then this one can be termed as an asset. Okay, that's why when you pirate, if you're caught pirating, is because you're using somebody's asset without his or her consent. So this can be an asset if it gives money back to your pocket. So anything of value that you own and puts money back to your pocket is called an asset. You can have an example. We have a rental house that gives money to you, puts money back to your pocket. Let me ask you, is the house you live in an asset or a liability? It's an asset if it puts money back to your pocket. If it doesn't, then it's a liability. Simple. Bonds, treasury bonds, and treasury bills, these government papers, they put money back to your pocket. You're given a certain percentage of interest. Shares is another asset. Shares is another asset because you get returns on that investment. You get dividends. If the company that you've invested in, you put money in that company, and that company operates and makes profits, and those profits are distributed depending on the number of shares that you own, and that money paid to you, or the portion of that profit that is distributed to you, is called a dividend. So you have a return on that investment. So that is an investment because it is an asset and is an investment because it has the ability of making money on its own and is something of value that you own that puts money back to your pocket. Also, when you talk about school bus, it's not only a bus, but it's generating money. Okay, it's an asset because it is a tangible asset. It's a fixed asset. It's a movable asset. And puts money back to your pocket. So anything that puts money back to your bank or to your pocket is called an asset. So take a list, take your notebook and write down all things that you own and put money back to your pocket and call them assets. Or you can just start with the things that you own, these, and list them down. Or these are called assets. And assets put money back to your pocket. So next time, or when you to make any decision, when you're buying something, maybe you're spending a lot of money to build your own house, a house that you live in. If it does not bring money back to you, is it an asset or a liability? Look at it in terms of future. You'll still live in that house, but will it make money to you? Will it be a source of income in future? If it doesn't, then you need to think about it. Okay, let's look at liabilities. A liability can be defined as any obligation that you have to pay. Simply put, a liability removes money from your bank. Look at the bills that you have to pay: electricity, water, telephone bills. They remove money from your pocket. They remove money from your bank. So these are liabilities. So the opposite of an asset is a liability. Because an asset is not only something of value that you own, but something that puts money back to your pocket. And a liability removes money from your pocket. The bills that you pay remove money from your pocket, and those are called liabilities. There's several types of liabilities. One, can be classified in terms of duration. That is, you can have short-term and long-term goals or liabilities. So short-term liabilities such as credit cards, overdrafts that you have in your bank, which get mapped into 6 months. These are short-term liabilities. They don't last maybe for more than a year. But you have some liabilities like car loans that goes up to 5 years and above. Mortgages, these are liabilities. Long-term liabilities, because a mortgage, like here in Kenya, goes up for 20, 30 years. So that's a long-term liability. There's a simple framework that will help us understand or calculate our net worth. If your assets minus liabilities is equals to your net worth. Anything of value that you own minus anything that you owe, then that gives you your net worth. There's several types of net worth. There are two basically. There are two types of net worth. We have a positive net worth and a negative net worth. Positive net worth means your net worth is said to be positive when your assets exceed liabilities. So after listing anything of value that you own and anything or any obligation that you have to pay, and if you do the assets minus liabilities, if you get a positive figure, then that's positive net worth. And when your liabilities on the other side exceeds your assets, then that's a negative net worth. Let's interpret this. A positive net worth means you are financially healthy. That is, you have more assets than liabilities. What that means, you have more income coming in than what you have to pay. So that is a financial position that is healthy. And on the other side, if what you owe is more than what you own, then you're in debt. Simply put, you have a lot to pay than what you even own. So the ground you're standing on is on the negative side. Okay, so for example, if you have a credit card and you've used the limit, it means what you have is something you have to pay. What is your asset? If that credit card was used to buy household or just spent on secondary needs as well, was not on an investment or something of value that you can say, this is what I bought. I use my credit card to pay for this asset which is generating this income, then that straight is negative net worth. What's the importance of understanding our net worth? It is important because you're able to tell where you are and how to get where you want to be. For any long journey starts with the current step. You have to start from somewhere, and when you start with your finances is understanding your current standing so that you can know if you're in debt or if you have a negative net worth. Then you know you need to get out of debt. You need to get out of debt, and you need to get out of debt now because you have a goal to achieve, which is to have a financial healthy position in future. So this topic helps you understand more on your current financial position. This can give you encouragement when you're heading in the right direction, that is reducing debt while increasing assets, and provide a wake-up call if you're not on track. If you're not on track, that is, if you look at the current position and find that you have more, what you owe is more than what you own, then this is a wake-up call. You need to do something about it. Okay, if you the way you've been behaving, and you said about money, it's 80% behavior for you to execute your budget or to implement fully your budget, then you need to change your spending habits. You need to know about investment, and that is why we have these courses that will help you understand what's an expense. Remember, our first module on personal finance management addresses your income, your expenses, your saving, your investments. So if you really understand the four elements in our first module, then if you get in debt, if you find yourself in debt, then it's high time to get out of debt. And that's a course that is also offered. Now, this course helps you understand where you are, and then you can take the necessary measures to get out of debt if you're in debt, or to increase or accelerate your investments so that you can grow and improve your net worth. Okay, let us look at how to calculate your net worth. How do you calculate your net worth? This is step by step. I want to advise you, you need to grab a pen and a paper. Start by listing your largest asset, anything of value that you own. For example, put your home there, put your vehicle there, and do the correct estimates. Use the correct estimate. Next, gather your latest bank statement for your liquid assets such as savings accounts, okay, or your retirement account, and list them down. Okay, then list your personal items. Maybe you have your jewelry, you have some musical instruments, your home theaters, but don't include anything like pen. No, say maybe something worth above 1,000 shillings, or let's say 5,000 shillings, or 10,000 shillings. Add the 3 up. Okay, that's now the asset column. Let's go to the liability column. How you calculate this is as follows. Number 1, start with the major liabilities such as your balance on mortgage, your balance on car loans. List them up and give the correct or exact estimates. Next, list all your personal liabilities such as credit cards, student loans, and any other debt. If you even owe your relative or your family something, just list them. List them down. And then add all of your liabilities and come up with a total. Add them up. So you have your major outstanding liabilities, you have your personal liabilities such as credit cards and student loans, and also add them up. Now the net worth. Finally, you subtract the total liabilities from the total assets, and you will have your net worth now. That's your net worth. Your asset less liabilities. It doesn't matter how big or how small, or even if it is negative. This is just the starting point to have something to compare against in the future. Okay? Because we said it's an ongoing process, and you should always try to monitor the progress of how you're faring on in terms of debt reduction and also building asset columns. So you repeat this process maybe once in a year and compare it with the previous year's number. You can then determine if you're making progress or getting further behind. So it's very important that you understand your current position, asset liability position, so that you're able to monitor the progress. Okay? If you're in negative net worth, you need to get out of debt and you need to accelerate the asset column. So that's a simple framework where you have your total assets and the total liabilities and your asset less liabilities, and you can tell whether you have a positive or a negative net worth. I want to give an example here of a couple who lives in a residence valued at 250,000 shillings, and they have an investment portfolio and invest in some shares of 100,000 shillings, and they have an automobile, okay, which is valued, the market value is at 25,000. Some of the motorbikes, I think we have two. Then that's the asset column. On the liabilities, they have a home which has an outstanding balance of 100,000 in the bank, and the liabilities they pay. There is an outstanding loan balance of 10,000 shillings. So how much is the net worth? You take the total asset, that's 250,000 plus 100,000 plus 25,000. Okay, that is now the total assets. Then you take the liabilities, that is they have the outstanding mortgage of 100,000 and the automobile, the motorbike, which one has a net worth, an outstanding balance of 10,000. So how much are they worth? 265,000. Okay, 265,000 shillings is the current net worth. Let's see 5 years later, because we said you need to monitor the progress. Okay, five years later, the resident is valued at 225,000 shillings, and they created an investment portfolio which went up from 100 to 120,000, and they introduced a savings which has 20,000 shillings, and the automobile. Remember, this the depreciation element is they are not valued at 15,000 shillings. Okay. So let us look at the liability column, the liabilities column. Well, they've paid the mortgage by 20 and the outstanding loan balance is at 80,000 shillings, and they've cleared the motorbike bill. So the automobile loan is paid off. What's their net worth? 300,000. That is 225,000 in asset, plus 120,000, plus 20,000 in savings, and 15,000 in automobile. And the liabilities column, the mortgage balance has gone down to 80,000. They've cleared the motorbike, and now we can say they have a net worth of 300,000 shillings. Now, note here from our calculation that the couple's net worth has gone up by that 5,000 shillings, despite the decrease in value of their residence and automobile. And because of this decline, because this decline is more than offset by the increase in other assets such as the investment portfolio and the savings. Remember, they didn't have the savings at first, so they introduced the savings, which has 20,000, as well as a decrease in their liabilities. Remember, they also paid up for their motorbike. So you need to balance, you need to know how to increase your asset column. What you can learn from this, the increase in their net worth is because they introduced the savings and they also cleared the debt. Okay, so common mistakes people do is they fail to understand the difference between an asset and a liability. Okay, an asset is anything of value that you own, and for that to qualify as an asset, make sure that it puts money back to your pocket. Because we're looking at your current income. What are you doing with your current income, and where do you want to be in future? So is whatever that you own, is whatever you're committing your money on currently, will it help you make more income even in future? Okay, if it's an asset, then an asset, it's something of value that you own, yes, but does it generate money? Does it put money back to your pocket? Does it appreciate in value, or does it depreciate in value? Okay, so if something put money back to your pocket, appreciates in value, and that qualifies to be an asset. A liability is anything of value that you is any obligation that you have to pay. That is called a liability. Now, where do you start? You need to you begin by getting very clear. Take a closer look on what you own. Does it put money back to your pocket, or is it there to eat up your income, which you can use to put up investment columns that will even generate income even in future? Remember, we said an investment is something, or is an endeavor that you put your money into, and with an expectation of making more additional income. So you could be having something of value, yes, but is it an investment? Does it have the potential of making money on its own? Is it appreciating in value? Can it guarantee some income in future, or it's on the downward trend, eating up your income? So take a closer look at what you own, or what you call an asset. So, and then you need also to look at get a closer look on your liabilities. Okay, what is the difference between your asset and liabilities? So take a pen and paper, go follow the steps, find out where you are currently. What is your current financial position? What is your net worth? Then let us look at some frequently asked questions. What is an asset? An asset is anything of value that you own. Okay. An asset puts money back to your pocket. A liability removes money from your pocket. An asset can be anything of value that you own. But remember, when you're committing your money into that asset, yes, that's an income that you've earned. Maybe it's hard-earned cash. Yes, you can buy that asset. That's something of value and have it with you. But is it appreciating in value? Because you're now working. Maybe you're 20, 30, 40, 50 years. How about in 70 years? Where will your income come from? It's better to put that money into an investment and say, this is my asset and it gives me more income, and even when I stop working, this will keep sustaining me, will give me more income even in future. So you need to be very correctly and also have a long-term plan when you buy something and say, yes, this is an asset, it's something of value that I own, I need to put money back to my pocket. Remember, the normal setup of cash flow, you have money coming in and money going out. So if you have something of value and instead of adding your money coming in, it's on the minus side, then its sustainability can be questionable. Especially if you're like employed, what will happen to that asset when you stop working? Okay, so you might have something of value that you own, but is not putting money back to your pocket. So that, to me, is not an asset. An asset is something of value that you own and puts money back to your pocket. Okay, because that one brings the idea of sustainability even in future. What is a liability? A liability is an obligation that you have to pay. Can be short-term or long-term. So if there's something that you owe, if you have any obligation to pay, then that's a liability. And that one is on the minus side. What is a net worth? Net worth is the difference between your assets and liabilities. Okay, and this is the starting point. You should do this assessment if you want to know the exact financial position, and this one should be a continuous process so that you can monitor the progress of your financial standing. How do you calculate your net worth? It's that list all your assets and then major assets, liquid assets and personal assets, list them, and then you have on the other column you work out long-term mortgages, and you have your short-term like credit cards, and then you need to add them up, and then your asset minus liabilities, you'll get your current financial position in terms of net worth. Explain the different types of net worth. We have a positive net worth. A positive net worth is when you have assets that exceed your liabilities. Okay. And now you need to examine what you call an asset and look at your current financial position. If you're an employee and what you call an asset is a personal car, will you be able to sustain that car if your income is not there? So it is an asset, then it has the ability of generating income. Okay, an asset puts money back to your pocket, not the other side. Something that you own and removes money from your pocket, then that kills the whole net worth with time, because after you stop working and you don't have any income, where will your income come from to sustain that asset? So anything of value that you own and puts money back to your pocket, that's quality asset. That's an asset. So you have your assets minus liabilities. If you have a positive number, that's a positive net worth. If it's negative, then that's a negative net worth. And what that simply means, you are in debt and you need to get out of debt and accelerate. You need to get out of debt and accelerate your assets. This is a course that is recommended to anyone who wants to understand or to begin the journey to financial freedom, because you need to know where you are, what is your current position, so that you can say where you want to be, what do you want to achieve even in future. So this one gives you a financial position or an analysis of where you are. And then if you're in negative net worth, then that's the beginning of another journey. If you have a positive net worth, better. But you also need to look at what you call an asset. Does it have the ability to make money on its own? Is it something that isn't actually depreciating in value? Like personal household, maybe they're depreciating in value. The things that you own, yes, but minus your current income, will you still say that you have a positive net worth, but anything you have of value and puts money back to your pocket, that should be your guide. Okay. So I hope this course helps you understand your net worth and in the quest of achieving your financial freedom. So take a note, take your pen and paper, sit down, look at your assets, look at your liabilities, work them out and see whether you have a positive net worth. If you have a positive net worth, keep growing your asset base. And if you have a negative net worth, it's the beginning of a journey. And this is the first step towards your financial freedom. Now that you know where your current position is, let's be wise. Let's create an asset collapse. Let what we own be in a position or be able to generate more income, even in future. When if you're employed and you stop working, your asset collapse can still pay for the liabilities, or can still pay you an income or appreciate in value and make you grow richer and richer even in future. So thank you and God bless.